Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my speaking skills series. This class is all about how to talk about your neighbors and neighborhood. We're going to start off by reading a little text with an anecdote about a place where you may be from and the kind of neighbors you might have. And then you're going to learn the right vocabulary to talk about where you're from that text. We're going to pick out the keywords for describing both positive and negative behaviors that people might have. By the end of this class, you will be able to understand and report back on what someone else has said about their neighbors, and we'll do a little interview at the end to help you with that. So let's get started. Let me just do a quick introduction. I'll put the material on the screen for you. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, coming at you today from Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. What else can I say? If you click on that, what I want to say, that link, that's what I wanted to say. If you click on that link in the Verbling chat window, it'll bring you to my profile page where you can click follow. You'll see all my upcoming classes, and you can also schedule a private tutoring class with me as well. So think about that. Let's get started. Take a look at this. There you go. And if you want to open that on your computer, you can follow the link that I just posted for you in the chat window. So let's get started by saying hello to our esteemed colleague, Ms. Sabrina. Hello, Sabrina. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. Oh, now we got some people coming in.
Yes.
Excellent. Hello, Jose. Morning. How are you? I don't hear Jose. Let's say hello to Mr. Van An. Hello, Van An. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I called you Mr. I'm sorry. Ms. Van An. And where are you from?
I'm from Vietnam.
Okay, great. Have you been here before? Because your voice sounds very familiar. No? Oh, okay.
No, this is the first time I joined the course with you.
Okay. Very nice to have you. And am I saying your name right? Van An?
Yes, exactly. My name is Van An. So many people call me Van because they thought the first word of my name is my first name. But actually in Vietnam, people have like two words in their name.
Oh, just like me. I'm John Eric. See?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm Vietnamese. Who knows? All right. And Jose, are you out there?
Yes, I'm here.
There we go. Okay. Oh, and there's Ryota as well. Look at that. All my friends are coming to see me. Hello, Ryota. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you. How are you?
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, let's get started because we've got a little bit of reading to do and then some other activities. So what I'm going to do is take a look at this page. And just to warm up, I'm going to ask you a few questions just to get started. What do I want to ask you? Oh, yeah. So you'll see, let me just find out where it is. Oh, yeah. Take a look at the bottom. Before we read the text, take a look at the very bottom of the page where it says behavior, and tell me which words do you think are positive and which words do you think are negative in that list on the bottom of the page? Maybe some of them you recognize, others you may not. By the way, let me just say a quick hello to Vitaly, coming back. Hello, Vitaly. How are you?
Hello, John Eric. I'm fine, thank you.
Nice to see you. And also Angelica. Hello, Angelica. How are you?
Hi, John Eric. Fine, thanks.
Fantastic. Okay. So, let's start with some of those words at the bottom of the page. Okay, you'll notice that there's the IPA symbols next to a few of them. So maybe what we ought to do is just read them quickly and then tell me if they're positive or negative. So, Vitaly, could you be I'm just going to go in the order that I see you. I see Vitaly, then Vanan, then Ryota, then Sabrina, then who's after that? Then Rafa, Jose, and Angelica. I'm just going to go from right to left on the bottom of the screen, the order that I see you. So Vitaly, can you say the very first word in that behavior box at the bottom of the page?
Yes. Ability.
Look at the IPA. Bully.
Bully.
What's a bully?
Bad guy.
Am I a bully?
Yes. It's negative.
Of course. Oh, okay. I said, am I a bully, Vitaly?
You're not you.
No.
Maybe
Okay.
I?
Maybe you are. Yeah. I have my doubts
Same.
about you. So, what does a bully do? There's all this press these days about it for the last couple of years about bullying in school. What's a bully? Can you use it? Yeah.
It's a rude guy, mostly the little guy, who harassing other people and doing something wrong things.
That's right. Doesn't have to be a guy, I guess, but usually it's, let's put it, someone who harasses, as you said, who harasses. By the way, instead of harasses, you can say who picks on. Someone picks on someone weaker, something like that. So take a look in the chat window. You'll see W for new word, and then a little definition. Someone who harasses or picks on someone weaker. Okay? So let's go through this list and see if you can use the word in a sentence or give a definition. So Vitaly did bully. Vanan, can you read the second word, going from left to right?
Yes, to fight.
Mm.
Friendly, helpful.
Well, wait, just the first word, so to fight.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Let's use it in a sentence if we can relate it to neighbors or getting along with people. This one's easy.
Yeah, to fight means does not when you don't get along with anyone and you always find a way to like annoy them.
Okay.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
So
Yeah.
something like that. So fighting doesn't have to mean physically punching someone, right?
Yes.
I think that's what you're getting at. So maybe a good expression is getting on someone's nerves and maybe arguing. Fighting doesn't have to be only physical. Okay, and Ryota, the next word.
Yes. Next word is, I can see
At the bottom of the page on
Yes.
slide 3.
Friendly.
Friendly. That's pretty easy, right?
Right.
I think we know what that is. Okay, and then we have helpful. That's easy. And then we have kind. I think all of these are words that everyone knows. Mr. Raphael, the second word in the second column, that one's hard to pronounce.
Oh, no.
The second word in the second column, noisy could be.
That's a third word.
Third word.
The one before.
Naughty.
Listen to me. Naughty.
Naughty.
That's it. So, can you use that in a sentence? Thinking about neighbors, people getting along.
Yeah. There were two twins living in the next to me they were so naughty.
Because?
Because they were messing around everything, and they were dirty people.
Okay. They were always, I like that, messing around. They're always messing around with my things. So naughty means misbehaving. Naughty. There should be an IPA symbol next to that because its pronunciation is not so obvious. Let me see if I can put it on the screen for you. What's happening to my computer? I can't do it. Give me a minute. Oh no. Hold on a second. Wow. I think I'm going to buy a new laptop. Every time I try to do something on this computer, it freezes. So right now I'm trying to give you the IPA symbols, but my computer is totally frozen. Give me just a second here. Okay, in the meantime, alright, give me a second here. Alright, I think it's working now. Okay. Jose, after naughty we have?
Yes. Noisy.
Okay. And the next word after
my neighbor is very noisy.
And the next word after that is?
Noisy.
Look again.
Noisy.
No, with an O.
Nosy.
Yeah, nosy.
Nosy. My neighbor is nosy. He's seen to me through the window all the time.
He's looking you through the window all the time. Yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. He's looking me through the window all the time.
You better think about moving, Jose. It's time to get a new house, maybe. Oh my god, look at this. I'm trying to put the IPA symbols and my computer is frozen. Unbelievable. Hang on just a second. Okay, well, I can't write in the chat window, so I'll have to come back to it later. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, Angelica, I want you to say the next two words. So it's the first two words in the third line.
Polite
Mm-hmm.
and rough.
Okay, very good. How would you use rough in a sentence, talking about behavior or neighbors? How would you use rough?
Rough is a bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Use it in a sentence for us.
Okay.
What could you say?
My behavior have sometimes a rough, my neighbors have rough behavior towards me sometimes.
What might they be doing if they're rough?
They're putting their garbage in the front door.
Ah, okay. Well, I would say it more like this. Rough means can mean physically aggressive. So maybe it could be physically aggressive, or you might feel threatened that it's physically aggressive. My neighbors spoke to me about the noise, but they were really rough. That means that you thought they might attack you, or you were a little.
So it's physical violence?
John? I can hear him.
Hello. I
Hello,
think
John.
his laptop has been freeze.
Yes.
Probably.
He will have some problem with the computer.
Yeah.
Maybe he's rebooting his PC.
someone say something?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, let's talk about something about John Eric.
John Eric, the one who's just joined us.
Yes.
Uh-oh. I think he's left.
And let's guess when will he go back to the class?
Okay, it's coming back.
Really?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh,
This is official. I'm going to buy a new computer today. I give up. I can't take this. Oh my god, what a nightmare. Okay.
Okay, John Eric, we're discussing the meaning of the word um, rough.
Yeah.
You're telling me that it means violent or
Not
aggressive
violent.
behavior.
Not violent. Well, it can be violent, but aggressive. It means aggression. So, if you say your neighbors are rough, well, there's many meanings. But in this context, it means aggression or fear of aggression. They were speaking to me in a rough way. That means that you were worried that they were going to get aggressive. There's another meaning of rough, which means just kind of bad. I'm feeling rough. That means that you've been out all night drinking. And the next day you have a terrible headache. You feel rough. That's another kind of rough. Rough, of course, is the opposite of smooth. That everyone knows, right? The basic meaning. The opposite of smooth. So that's why we say aggressive, because if someone is aggressive, they're not being calm and smooth relations. It's the opposite. Rough. Rough to the touch. Yes, like a hangover, you can feel rough. That's right. Okay. So, sorry about getting kicked out of class. I think my computer is working now. I hope so. So that pretty much covers everything. We've got rude, and I don't know where we left off. Mr. Frank. Are you down there,
hello,
Mr.
man.
Frank?
Hello, man. I'm here.
Fantastic. On that list, we have the word to swear. What does that mean, to swear? Do you know? Hello, Frank?
Yes.
In the
Where's
box
the word?
at the bottom
Where?
of the page, can you see on the bottom of the page? We're looking at slide 3.
Slide 3.
Yeah, what do you see on screen right now? You should see the word behavior at the bottom of the page.
Yes, behavior.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 words we didn't talk about were to swear and well-behaved. What does it mean to swear, Frank? To swear. Have you heard that before? To swear.
Means to say to guarantee something will be happen in future.
Okay, yeah. To guarantee, to promise.
To promise.
In the context of this subject, neighbors, getting along, being rough, bullying, fighting, what do you think swear means in this context? Not sure? We'll ask the class.
Saying bad words, telling difficult words to pronounce, or bad words insulting you, something like that could be.
Yeah, not difficult to pronounce, of course. Easy to pronounce, but bad.
For a non-native.
What's that?
For a non-native, it's difficult to pronounce asshole, to fuck off, or something like that.
You don't actually have to say them, Raphael. But thank you for demonstrating. Yeah, to say something insulting, bad words. Sometimes we call these 4-letter words because they often have 4 letters and they're very short. Keep these words in mind as we read, and we're going to pick out some other words as well to help describe good and bad behaviors. We didn't decide which ones are bad or good, but I think we'll do it as we read. Okay, so let's go to the top. This is quite short. I'm going to try to give everyone one of these little paragraphs. Oh, I didn't say hello to Mr. Matteo. Sorry, Matteo. I saw you come in, but I was kicked out of class. Hello, Matteo. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Hello, everybody.
And where are you from, Matteo?
I'm from Milan, Italy.
From Milan. Okay, excellent. So, everyone, let's take one of these little paragraphs, and then I've got some things for us to do together as a class. Oh, one more question before we begin. Mr. Matteo, here's a question for you. What kind of complaints about neighbors do you think are most common? What kind of complaints about neighbors do you think are most common? I'm asking you that, and if you want to take a look over here in exercise 2, you can see some examples. What do you think are the most common complaints that the police or people get?
I think noise,
Yeah?
noise, and sometimes even rubbish. I have sometimes a problem with rubbish.
Oh yeah.
Rubbish is a waste, right?
That's right. That's right. So, so what happens to you with your neighbors, with the rubbish?
Oh, I have a strange neighbors that we have a common area where we waste our rubbish.
Where we put our rubbish?
Yeah.
Where we put our rubbish?
Yeah, we will put our rubbish. Just a moment, I take note. Put the rubbish. And we should split the different kind of rubbish, plastic, glass.
We should separate.
Yeah, we should separate the rubbish, and I live in a place, in a palace where live something like 8 families, and he go to check the rubbish of all my neighbors. And someone left a 1-page paper in the middle of plastic, blah blah blah. I think he wastes his time checking the rubbish of other people, but sometimes we.
Maybe that's his job. Maybe he's a rubbish inspector.
No, it is not. It is not his job, but and he write because in this way it's not possible to receive this kind of email. I checked your rubbish. You left one paper in the middle of
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Where I live, this is a true story. Where I live, if people go to the dumpster and they put the garbage in front of the dumpster. They don't even open the lid. They just put it on the sidewalk in front of the dumpster and recycling and everything, so that you have to walk into the street around it. True story. I wish someone was coming and looking if I was recycling things. I wish people cared that much. I think you're lucky, Matteo. I think you're a very lucky guy.
Thank you.
All right, very good. By the way, class, do you agree? Is noise and rubbish, do you think those are the most common complaints? Can you relate to that in your experience? Class?
I think noise. I think noise is the most common. Like sometimes my neighbor turn on the music too loud.
And what can you do if they turn on the music too loud?
I just kick on the wall to let them know that I'm really irritated.
Oh, very mature. Excellent. Very good, very good. Has anyone ever... Go ahead, sorry, Angelica. Go ahead.
Sorry. Just
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I have a little pub just under my window.
Oh,
so there is
nice.
a lot of noise, music, and unpleasant smells.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you live? Like having a party.
Where do you live again? I forgot where you live exactly.
I live in Italy.
Well, I know in Italy, but where?
Yes. In southern Italy.
In?
Southern Italy.
Could you be more specific? Do you live in the
Naples.
city? Oh, in Naples.
Yeah, Naples.
Yeah, in Naples, everything is on top of everything else, right? So you've got those really dense neighborhoods. At least when I was in Naples, I remember that you've got these high-rises and tenements in part of it. So what do you do when the cafe... Is it a cafe or a restaurant?
It's a pub.
It's a pub. So what do you do when they're making noise?
I call the police.
Oh, me too. I call the police many times. And the
you
police
can discuss with the owner.
And the police come and they do nothing, right?
Yes, precisely.
Yeah. I have the same experience. One time I called the police and they wanted my name and my details instead of...
Yes.
I had the same thing. I had a cafe underneath me, an illegal...
One time the owner of this pub told me that he was fine me. He was trying to fine me for persecution.
But in all European cities and in the States as well, there's a noise ordinance, right? By the way, that's a good word for all of you. Noise ordinance, like this in the chat window. Ordinance. Yes. So, for example, where I live in Lisbon, I believe it's at 8 o'clock, the noise must stop. And then they can come with a meter and they can read the noise level. And if it goes above that noise level, then you can actually take action against an establishment. So, in reality, it's impossible to measure because whatever. They take some months to come.
Yes, I called for a noise measure 6 months ago.
Right, yeah. I did the same thing. It's impossible. So, that's one of those problems of living in the city. And who was right? Vanan, look at the chat window. Can you see what I wrote? The last thing I wrote? Vanan, can you see?
Yes. No, I don't see any word here. Can you type it again?
I did. Look at the Verbling chat window.
Verbling chat window. Mm-hmm. Okay.
See the last thing I wrote? Noise ordinance. Okay?
Okay.
If you can't see it, it means you're using an iPad, and then you're blocked. Are you using an iPad?
Okay. No, I'm using a laptop, but it's okay. Just carry on. I'm trying to figure out.
Click on the blue box.
Yeah. the V here, but there's no checkbox here. Only the video.
All right, so there.
Oh yeah, now I see. Now I see.
Okay. All right. We got to get to this text because we've got lots of great vocabulary, and I want you to use it. So we need to read it and get exposed to it. Okay. So, Mr. Vitali, take the title and the first little paragraph for us, please.
Okay. Nightmare Neighbors. This is the first of the new documentary series about problem neighbors. In this program, we follow the lives of the
This is a last name, Dixon's.
Dixon's retired couple in Plymouth and Plymouth and their next door neighbors. The Lanes, a single mother and her 2 children.
Okay, so what are we reading about, just to be clear?
About children's neighbors' children's.
True, but we're reading about a documentary.
Huh?
What's a documentary?
It's fact.
No. It's a factual film, a movie.
Okay.
A movie, documentary, a documentary film. This is a documentary series, so it's probably on television. And it's documenting, as you said, neighbors, the Dixons and the Lanes. Okay, Van Ann, can you take the second little paragraph? These are very short.
Yes. The second one from Bird of Course, right? From
the Dixons. The Dixons.
Okay. The Dixons say that the Lanes are noisy and rough. They say they can't sleep because of the fighting and shouting from next door. Mrs. Dixon says she caught Mrs. Lane's daughter painting graffiti on their garage wall. And according to Mr. Dixon, the Lanes leave rubbish by the front door. He says the smell is terrible and is health hazard.
And is a health hazard.
It's a health hazard.
That's it. What's a health hazard? Sorry.
I think it's dangerous to your health.
Something dangerous to your health. Okay. Hazard also means the same as risk. Health risk. Okay. So hazard equals risk. They're synonyms. I'll put that in the window, in the chat window as well. Okay. So far, so good. Mr. Ryota, can you take the next little paragraph on the top of slide 3?
Yeah. But of course, there are 2 sides to every dispute. According to Mrs. Lane, the Dixon just want to make trouble because she is separated from her husband. She said they enjoy complaining because they are bored and haven't got anything else to do.
Nice. You know, you bother people because you're bored. Exactly. Take a look at this word in the chat window. Say that word again for me, the one I just wrote.
So where?
In the VerbLink chat, the last word I wrote. Can you see it?
Hold on a second. Yeah, dispute.
Good. Dispute. Spute. Good. Dispute. The IPA symbols in the chat window, you'll notice in the IPA International Phonetic Alphabet, you'll notice there's a J. The J is pronounced like an I. So dispute. EU. That's right. So when you say it slowly, it's EU. Okay? But just to show you, to be more familiar with the IPA, the J in the IPA symbols is actually the sound I. So it's sort of like this. Maybe not eh, but I. Maybe I should write it like this. Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
Like that. Dispute. Okay, very good, Ryota.
Thank you.
And Sabrina, can you take the next one for us? Down to around 25. 20 to 25.
There is something fascinating about looking at other people's everyday lives, and this is the secret of reality TV's success. In the series Nightmare Neighbors, we see how teen disputes can become wars which last for many years.
Stop there for just a second. Very good. I just want you to say this word one more time in the chat window.
Fascinating.
Look where the stress is. Do you see the little not asterisk, the little apostrophe? It's on the it's before the F.
Okay, fascinating.
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 That's right. First syllable stress. Excellent. Very good. And Raphael, can you take 25 to 30 for us?
Yes. We see how tiny disputes can become wars which last for many years. We'll see a woman who set fire to her neighbor's door because he parked his car in the wrong place, and a man who shot his neighbor's dog because it was barking too loudly.
I know that feeling. All right, very good. And I think after you is Matteo. So Matteo, why don't you finish it up from 29 to the very end of the text? After too loudly, Matteo. Matteo, are you there? We lost Matteo. Jose, from 29 to the end, please, from after too loudly.
We'll see a couple who installed a security camera in their home and pointed it towards their neighbor's front door. At the end of these shows, you came away thinking, why don't these people just talk to each other?
There we go. Because talk never works. That's the answer. Give me a second here. Okay, and just repeat this word in the chat window, Jose.
Sí, a ver, okay. Security. Security. Security.
Almost. That little J, remember, is the I sound, so it's secure.
Security. Security.
That's it. Security. So it's the E-yor.
Security. Security.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, very good, everyone. Good reading. And sorry, this text is a little short, so I couldn't give everyone a chance to read, but you will have a chance to discuss it. What I want to do here, I wanted to ask you, give me a second here. Hold on just a second. Okay, so let's take a look. Just take another look at these photos. Okay, Frank, take a look at this photo first. Who are the people in the photos, do you think?
The couple.
So take a look at the first slide.
First one.
Yeah, they're on slide 2. Who do you think those people are?
Which people?
In the photo? On slide 2?
The boy or the girl?
Yeah, who are they from the text? Who do you think they are?
They are athletes.
They are? I couldn't hear you.
They are athletes.
Athletes? Wait a second. Wait a second. Think back to the text we just read.
Text.
Yeah. Class, help them out. Who do you think these kids are? According to the text.
Neighbors.
It's about a kind of problem that the neighbors have.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Think back to what we just read. Which people in the text are the people you see on the screen right now?
The girl is the daughter of Mr. Lanes, and the boy,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
son of Mr. Dixon.
Exactly. So you got Mrs. Lane's son and Mrs. Lane's daughter, I would imagine. It's probably the kids of the Lanes. And on this picture, who are these people, class? Who do you think?
The neighbors.
The neighbors.
Uh-huh. Which neighbors? What's their names? Do you remember?
Mrs. Lane from the right and Mr. Dixon from the left.
Mrs. Lane and Mr. Dixon, no?
Yeah.
No.
Huh? Sorry.
The Dixons.
It's Mr. and Mrs. Dixon, exactly.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Dixon, okay.
why would Mr. Dixon and Mrs. Lane be together?
The lovers.
What are they doing in the afternoon? Okay. Yes. Let's not say anything too explicit here. Yeah, it's probably the Dixons staring across the street at their neighbors. Exactly. All right. Now, just out of curiosity, do you remember those problems I mentioned earlier here? Which of these were mentioned in the article?
Animal problems. The dog is barking.
Yeah, so noise. Yep. Noise was mentioned. So in general, the dog barking is noise.
Car parking.
The?
Car parking.
Maybe.
The
Where was
second-
in the second paragraph?
In the second part of about the other documentary.
Maybe you're right. Oh, yeah. The neighbor's door because he parked his car in the wrong place. Exactly.
Yes.
Excellent. Oh, and it wasn't noise with the dog. The guy shot the dog. Yes, that's true. I remember now. Okay. Hang on just a second here. Okay. Now, take a look here. Actually, we were just doing exercise 5. I want you to, a little quiz. Look at exercise 6 here. I've given you a few definitions, and I want you to tell me if you can figure out what word from the text I'm talking about. So, Angelica, why don't you take the first one? See if you can remember which word was used in the text to describe that thing. Can you read it for us?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat, please?
Sure. I want you to
Okay.
find the word from the text that matches with number 1. Look at exercise 6, number 1. Can you read that for us?
Okay. Hazard.
A thing which may be dangerous is a hazard. Okay. We agree,
Hazard.
class? You're missing one word. What kind of hazard?
Health hazard.
A health hazard. Excellent. Okay, very good. All right. And let's see. Mr. Matteo, you're back. Matteo? Hello, Matteo?
Yes, I hear.
Excellent. Could you read number 2 for us and see if you can remember the word from the text?
I can't remember the word from the text, but I can read. An argument
Please read.
or disagreement between people.
An argument or disagreement between people. Want to take an educated guess? Want to take a general guess here? Another
General?
way to say a general guess. A guess.
Then I guess about the argument or disagreement between people. Neighbor. The topic where we said before.
Well, what's the word?
Rubbish.
What's the synonym we're looking for? Another synonym for argument.
Argument, discussion.
Not discussion, that's Italian.
No?
No, that's Italian. You gotta,
Argument. An argument is a fight.
a fight, okay. Now a fight sounds very aggressive. What's another synonym, class, that means not necessarily aggressive? Fight's a good one. Dispute, exactly. Excellent. Dispute.
Nice.
That's it. Ryota, can you take number 3 for us?
Yes. So no longer living with your wife, husband, or partner. So single mother.
Uh-huh. But to describe the couple, if they're not together, they are what?
They are single mother.
If a couple is not together, then they are
Separated.
separated was the
Separate.
word.
I see.
Separated.
Divorce.
That's it. That's it. Okay, and Van Ant, what about number 4?
Number 4, I think, is the barking.
That's right. The dog was barking. It was the last thing he ever did. And Vitaly, number 5. What do you think?
To fix equipment. And what is equipment? It's shotgun equipment to shoot the dog.
Hang on a second. To fix equipment into position so it can be used. Think back to the text here. To fix equipment. That means it was broken, or that it was in parts. To fix equipment into position. To put it into position so it can be used.
Oh my god.
Installed. Remember where that was in the text? What was installed in the text?
A security camera.
A security camera was installed. Excellent. So these are some key words that will help you talk about disputes. Now I'm gonna skip these true and false questions because I think maybe not. No, maybe we'll do it just to be clear. Okay. Mr. Dixon works in a bank. Nope. He's retired. If you know the answer, I want you to shout it out. The Lanes live next door to the Dixons. True or false? If you know it, shout it out. True or false?
True.
True. Of course, they're neighbors. There are 3 people living in the Lanes' house.
True.
True.
Correct. Who are those 3 people? Do you remember?
Mr. and Mrs. Lance and their daughter.
Mr. and Mrs. Lane and their daughter. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Lane and their daughter. Is that right? I thought the Lanes had 2 kids.
Mrs. Lennon and 2 kids.
Yeah, Mrs. Lane and 2 kids. I thought it was.
Yeah.
She was a single mom, as Ryota said. Okay. Mrs. Dixon says she can't sleep. Is that true?
True.
Are you sure? Is that 100% true?
No.
No.
They don't say that.
They don't say it in that way. It's
Yeah.
not that Mr. Dixon can't sleep. Who can't? It's not that Mrs. Dixon can't sleep. Who can't sleep? Going once, going twice. The answer is both Mr. and Mrs. Dixon say they can't sleep. So it's false because it's not completely true. Both of them are saying it. That's the truth. Number 5, Mrs. Lane isn't married.
Separated.
She's separated, right. So it's false. She is married, but she's separated, right? Because they're not living together. And number 6, the Dixons definitely enjoy complaining.
This is a
False.
False?
Mrs. Lenny's opinion.
So it's true. It's Mrs. Lane's opinion. it's true according to Mrs. Lane.
Yes.
We don't know if it's false. We don't know. But it's true according to Mrs. Lane. I would say true because Mrs. Lane made that claim. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Now, who do you feel more sorry for in the story, the Dixons or the Lanes? Just out of curiosity, class. Who do you feel more sorry for?
I feel more sorry for Mrs. Dixon
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
because she's separated from her husband, and her wall has been painted by the boy from the Mr. Lane's. I don't know, because here I read like Mrs. Dixon says she caught Mrs. Lane's daughter painting graffiti on the garage wall.
Right.
And they even leave rubbish by the front door of hers.
And she's alone. What can she do about
Yeah,
it?
she's alone. Yeah.
Right. Ryota, what were you going to say?
So number one,
Oh, I thought you were speaking. Sorry. Were you going? What did you want to add something about
uh,
number one? Yes. Did you want to add something?
yeah. So because Dixon moved to there, so she I think they are happy, but so at get there, so they get a program from their neighbor. So I think so Mr. and Mrs. Dixon very sorry about this program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's separated and she's got no help and she's got to raise 2 kids. So maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Which do you think is the worst behavior mentioned in the story? Frank, what do you think? Which is the worst behavior mentioned in the story? What do you think?
Noise, naughty children.
So the noise is worse than the graffiti?
Graffiti is the worst behavior.
Okay. Why? Why is that the worst for you?
It really it really drives them crazy.
I could imagine it would be pretty difficult. If someone is spray painting on your property, it could make you very upset. Class, do you agree? Is that the worst behavior mentioned?
I think the worst must be the guy who shot the dog.
I think so too.
Yeah, I can't imagine seeing someone shot the dog in front of me.
You can always paint over the graffiti, but it's a little bit hard to revive your dog after it's been shot. Yes, that seems pretty extreme. And last question here, why do you think the writer recommends this program, this documentary that we're reading about? This one is an opinion question, but since we're reading about a program, a series, why would the writer recommend this?
I think because this is a kind of a common issue nowadays,
Right?
and people should watch this series to have more experience dealing with those issues in their daily life.
So maybe this is a way for people to start communicating about the problem, right?
Yeah.
Just what comes to my mind.
I disagree. I think it's a kind of program to see what happened and to laugh about what happened with the neighbors.
So what you mean, Sabrina, is that it seems exploitive.
Yes, that's it. It's like a BBB.
What is the BBB?
Big Brother.
Oh, Big Brother, yeah. So it's not really serious. It's more entertainment.
Yes, my opinion. That's
2 good words here, by the way. Exploitive, Sabrina. Exploitive, and I had another one for you. Trivialize. Trivialize.
yes.
Maybe this kind of documentary, because we're kind of laughing at the people involved. Maybe it trivializes the problem. Maybe it trivializes the problem. I want to ask you, we're going to run out of time, so I can't do everything I want to do, but I want to ask you to talk about the worst experience you've had to deal with. We've talked a little bit in the beginning, but when you're doing this, I want you to consciously use some of the vocabulary that you've learned. Okay? So you can go directly to that list at the very beginning if you like. Bully, fight, friendly, helpful, kind, naughty, noisy, nosy, polite, rough, rude, to swear, or well behaved. or anything else that you've picked up in our discussion so far. But I want you to tell me about an incident that you've had to deal with. We as a class are going to decide how that dispute should be solved. Okay? So Angelica mentioned the pub beneath her house, right? So Angelica, I want you to tell us, give us an example of something that happened to you with the pub, and we're going to decide. And as you do it, I'd like you to use some of the keywords to talk about it very briefly. We're going to decide what we should do to solve that problem. So tell us about something that happened specifically.
Yes, I have this bad situation with people drunken and rude every night at the door of my house, and it's unpleasant because there's sometimes bullies are some old neighbors. They are really unfriendly. And they think they say very rude things to all the women.
Oh,
Yes, yes, because they are completely drunken,
drunk.
drunk,
Completely drunk.
drunk. They're
Good.
completely drunk. And yes, I have also some noisy neighbors with barking dogs
But that,
and
but that's not
bark.
the pub anymore, right?
No, no, they are just my front door neighbors. They have 3 dogs in 40
Okay.
square meters.
Yes, it happens.
Yes,
uh, okay.
but they're not so unpleasant.
Got it, got it. Well, listen, let's do this, everyone, because I'm just looking at the time. We've got to stop the class,
Okay.
and I've got to start the next one, actually. So here's what you could do. You can take some of this vocabulary today, and if you like, you can write a little description about a dispute that you've had, send it to me in the message window. I'll correct it and send it back. And we're going to pick up on this later in the week because we're going to work specifically on reported speech in the Grammar Garage class. So we're going to take something we've done today, we're going to expand it on Thursday. The idea of reporting back on a problem. Okay? So you can also think about that class to help you out. So that's a little homework if you like. I'll be back in just a minute to start our Fluency Fundamentals class all about restaurants and cooking, which is very good because, Angelica, you just talked about the pub. So now we can talk about what kind of food they serve, maybe. I'll be back in just a minute for that. Bye for now, everyone. Bye for now.
Okay, thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.